that to me. You can. Other places.
Complaining that I was always at one wife's house.
And whose house was that?
Oh, it was Robyn's. Robyn's to blame for everything.
No, that hit you hard. I'm sorry.
I know.
Jealousy from the public, the tabloids, from sister wives, something.
I know, right? I have looked back and I've dissected my relationship with Robyn.
Did you just say? Because I called her an ex-sister wife.
Don't call her that.
Putable in my time.
Okay.
See, that's where the lie is. If I had one of my children complaining
The
that
sister wives' family has been shaken with scandal, betrayal, and constant court cases, but nothing, absolutely nothing, has pitted fans more against each other than the rumors surrounding Robyn Brown's pregnancies. Right from the start, Robyn placed herself not only as Kody's fourth wife, but as the one who could provide him with something the others could not. Not every pregnancy was love or family expansion, it was also power, control, and leverage within the Brown family. Consider this, as Christine, Janelle, and Meri were struggling with dissolved marriages, financial battles, and shattered trust, Robyn always appeared to possess the golden card, a kid. And with that kid came power. Decisions about where the family lived, how money was divided, even how much time Kody spent with each wife, all of it could be shifted by the single phrase, "I'm pregnant." But here's the burning question. Was Robyn's pregnancy a blessing? Or a calculated move to keep Kody under her control? Tonight, we're pulling back the veil on one of sister wives' most explosive, tension-packed theories ever. A tale of manipulation, jealousy, and shocking betrayal, all told in spine-tingling detail. Stick with me for the next couple of chapters, because what I'm about to tell you might change your perspective on the Brown family forever. And by the end of this video, you'll be asking yourself, did Robyn really use pregnancy as her ultimate weapon against Kody and the sister wives? When Sister Wives first aired, America was captivated. Kody Brown, charismatic, outspoken, and determined to prove that his unconventional family could work, presented a household unlike anything reality TV had seen before. Meri, Janelle, and Christine had already established decades of history with Kody. They shared children, homes, finances, and made endless sacrifices to keep the family running. To many fans, the tale was more about the strength of the women who attempted to make the dream of plural marriage work rather than Kody himself. And then there was Robyn. She came into the family like a storm, younger, new, energetic. When the other wives were dealing with teenagers and marital distance, Robyn was a new beginning for Kody. She was romantic, loving, and best of all, she had something the other wives did not at the time, the ability to expand the family through pregnancy. And that was where everything started to change. Initially, Robyn's pregnancies appeared to be blessings, evidence that the Brown family was still prospering. But behind the closed doors, trouble brewed. Each new pregnancy was an added reason for Kody's attention to drift further away from Robyn. While Christine was drained, Janelle was concerned about money. And Meri was fighting isolation, Robyn had a trump card to play. Consider it, whenever there was a brawl, whenever the family was on the verge of breaking up, the same question in Kody's mind, but what about the baby? Robyn had embedded her pregnancies into the fabric of family choices. Want a larger house? Rationalize it on the basis of the children. Require more money out of the common fund? The baby's needs are paramount. Time with Kody? Certainly a wife who was pregnant must come first. The other wives felt the balance shift. Christine frequently expressed her frustration, not only at being ignored, but at how every single decision seemed to curve in Robyn's direction. Janelle, pragmatic and reliable, monitored the budget with concern as more dollars were directed into Robyn's home. And Meri, trapped in her own cycle of alienation, was helpless to defy it. It wasn't love anymore. It was leverage. Robyn had found the one irrefutable secret in the Brown clan: pregnancy held power. And once she had it, she never relinquished it. But what happens when leverage turns to manipulation? What happens when the other wives realize they're being edged out, not by accident, but by intention? That's the storm that was quietly simmering under the surface. A storm that would blow up in ways no one could foresee. How Robyn allegedly manipulated Kody's decisions through pregnancy. On the surface, Robyn Brown's pregnancies seemed like times of happiness. TLC captured them as emotional milestones, sweet moments of ultrasounds, nursery preparation, and Kody whispering forever vows. To viewers, it seemed like love. To the other sister wives, it started to feel like strategy. Because whenever Kody was on the cusp of war with one of his other wives, whenever Christine demanded more respect, or Meri demanded back her marriage, or Janelle questioned the finances, Robyn had the ultimate trump card, her pregnancy. And she knew how to play it. Kody's time was always the hottest commodity in the family. Every wife demanded time, affection, and reassurance. But with Robyn pregnant, it was always reasonable, Kody needs to remain with me, the baby needs him. I cannot endure this by myself. Gradually and inevitably, nights, weekends, and even holidays started to swing in Robyn's favor. Babies are expensive, and Robyn knew it. Where Christine's requests for domestic assistance were deemed complaints, Robyn's began to be referred to as needs. Hospital invoices, nursery bills, childcare assistance, everything was non-negotiable. Even Janelle, the pragmatic one, couldn't protest without coming across as hard-hearted. Money started coming toward Robyn's home in ways the others simply couldn't avoid. Perhaps the most insidious manipulation was emotional. Each argument with Kody concluded the same: we shouldn't stress the baby. How could Christine debate without appearing callous? How could Meri insist on intimacy when Robyn was cradling her belly and murmuring regarding the future of the child? Even Janelle, the most rational, acknowledged she couldn't push so hard. Robyn's pregnancy wasn't about a child, it was a shield. A method of shutting down opposition. Behind the scenes, Robyn allegedly played another card. She knew the cameras loved baby storylines. Pregnancy meant higher ratings, more sympathy, and more focus on her. She wasn't just controlling Kody, she was controlling the narrative of the entire show. While Meri's pain and Christine's frustrations filled episodes with tension, Robyn's pregnancies always provided the hopeful ending that TLC producers craved. And the wives noticed. Christine, never afraid to speak her mind and bite her tongue, openly wondered why Robyn always got her way regarding Kody's time and money. Janelle, more restrained, attempted to calculate figures and noticed the family's financial comfort was disappearing, but what could she do? Dispute a pregnant woman on national television? Meri, on the other hand, became increasingly withdrawn emotionally as she saw Robyn become the sun around which Kody's life revolved. It was not accident. It was not timing. To them, it appeared intentional. It appeared controlling. Each pregnancy was not merely the birth of a new life, but the reinforcement of Robyn's position of power within the Brown family structure. And while the other wives grappled with neglect, isolation, and bitterness, Robyn's power increased with each heartbeat on an ultrasound. But here's the one question that plagued the wives and fans around the globe. Was Robyn employing pregnancy as her ultimate weapon to control Kody's decisions, or was she just playing the hand life had dealt? That question, lingering in the air, only made the resentment keener, and paved the way for the most fiery confrontations the Brown family had ever seen. Initially, the manipulation was low-key. Robyn never yelled, never demanded outright. She acted the part of the gentle wife, sensitive, emotional, nearly fragile. But the other sister wives weren't ignorant. They could see the patterns emerging, the power dynamics, and the manner in which Kody's allegiance was being recalibrated pregnancy by pregnancy. And gradually, they began to resist. Christine's growing anger. Christine was the first one to lose her temper. For years, she had borne the brunt of childcare, managing kitchens, cleaning, homeschooling, all without Kody's constant focus. When she caught him spoiling Robyn, rescheduling, and spending money on a state-of-the-art nursery while her own kids were waiting for their father's attention, Christine's anger overflowed. She started expressing it in quiet debates. Isn't it odd how every decision now revolves around Robyn's pregnancy? Isn't it odd how suddenly she's running the show? Janelle's financial alarm. In the meantime, Janelle did the math, as she always did. Bank accounts were being drained quicker than they were being filled. Medical bills, baby apparel, new strollers, hospital visits, and constant, surprise expenses started adding up. When she attempted to bring these issues to Kody, he always replied the same: the baby comes first. Janelle, practical and strategic, began to feel like the family's financial future was being sacrificed on the altar of Robyn's influence. Meri's silent resentment. Then there was Meri. Isolated, wounded, and desperate for scraps of affection, Meri watched as Robyn used pregnancy as a rope to bind Kody closer and closer. What hurt most wasn't just Kody's absence, but the realization that Meri's marriage had become invisible. Each time Meri attempted to broach the subject of loneliness, her cries were muffled by Robyn's gently spoken words regarding stress and the baby's well-being. Meri did not yell. She did not fight back. But within, resentment seethed more fiercely than ever. Aurora's jealousy, even Robyn's daughter, Aurora, was not left untouched by the maelstrom. As family dynamics became rearranged around her, Aurora witnessed her own world disintegrating. Gossip circulated about Kody's new bride, about Robyn cementing her status as favorite, and Aurora started to simmer in private. She viewed her mother's pregnancy as a threat rather than a blessing to her position within the family. Even Robyn's own home experienced cracks in the foundation for the first time. The courtroom whispers, and then, the whispers in the courtroom began. With all that money coming in and out, with houses attached to various wives, and with followers gossiping about fraud and debt, before long, lawyers and judges were at the table. Christine joked once, but the words boomed like thunder. If a judge looked at these books, Kody would be finished. It was said in anger, but the seed of doubt had been planted. If the money wasn't even, if Robyn's pregnancies were being exploited to launder money, then the family was not only broken, but it was compromised. Suspense develops by now. Tension within the Brown family had thickened like fog. Dialogue became acidic. Glares replaced eye contact. All of Robyn's laughter with Kody was interpreted as manipulation by the other wives. Every dollar he spent, every night he slept over, every decision he made was a sign of dominance. It was not a family anymore. It was a war zone. And the wives were getting ready for battle. The anticipation was intolerable, not only for them, but for viewers too. Everyone sensed it, the calm before the storm, the gasp before the scream. The pause before the gavel comes down in a courtroom that could take everything away from Kody. All that was left was, who would make the first move? The calm broke at last. Tension had been building below the surface for months, whispers in kitchens, sidelong glances during family gatherings, tears behind the locked door. But every storm must eventually break. And when it did, the Brown household erupted into scenes so raw, fans couldn't look away. Christine, long tired of keeping her frustrations bottled, confronted Kody in front of everyone. Cameras rolled as she unleashed years of resentment. I've raised your kids, I've carried this family, and yet every decision revolves around Robyn. Is it really about the baby, Kody? Or is it that she's the only person who still has power over you? The words cut like a knife. For the first time, Christine uttered what the others had only spoken in hushed tones, that Robyn's pregnancies were not about love. They were about leverage. Janelle drops the numbers. Janelle trailed behind. Even keel, rational, yet seething beneath, she arrived with numbers. Piles of papers, spreadsheets, bank statements. See this, she said, her tone biting. We've spent more than $150,000 in the past year alone on Robyn's medical expenses, nursery, and surprise expenses. Meanwhile, our other children are suffering. How long do you suppose this family can get along like this, Kody? The room fell silent. The figure floated in the air like a death sentence. Meri's silent explosion. Next came Meri. For years, she had kept quiet, sitting in the background, taking leftovers of Kody's attention. But this time, she snapped. I've begged for your time, your attention, your love, she breathed, her voice shaking. But all I receive are excuses, because Robyn's pregnant, because Robyn needs you, because Robyn can't do stress. What about me, Kody? What about the rest of us? Her words were not accompanied by charts or by accusations. They were accompanied by pain. And that pain cut more deeply than anything that anger could. Aurora's meltdown. But it wasn't only the wives. Aurora, stuck in the middle of the maelstrom, blew up in rage. The teenage daughter who had previously stood up for her mother vented now. You think this is fair? You think she wanted this? She's struggling to stay alive in this family. Don't criticize her because Dad does love her. Her rage took everybody by surprise. Even Robyn was shocked as Aurora's tears overflowed into anger. It wasn't jealousy anymore, it was a complete breakdown of trust among children and parents, wives and husband, daughter and mother. Robyn breaks the silence and then, at last, Robyn opened her mouth. No tears. No gentle murmurs. Her tone was hard, nearly chilly. You think I planned this? You think I manipulated using my pregnancy? She shrugged. I did what I had to do to survive in this family. If that makes me the villain, then so be it. The words hung like a confession, but laced with defiance. The other wives stood aghast. Was she confessing it? Or just deflecting blame? The courtroom shadow. By this time, the battles weren't confined to living rooms anymore. The wives were discussing lawyers, judges, asset splitting and custody in hushed tones. Christine's prophecy of weeks ago now seemed prophetic. If a judge saw these books, Kody would be done. And while news of an IRS investigation churned, the family was under the dark shadow of something worse, the specter of courtroom showdown that could reveal it all. The breaking point voices were lifted. There were tears. There were cameras. The Brown family wasn't splintering, it was breaking in front of their eyes. The charges were on the table, Robyn with pregnancy as leverage. Kody pumping money into one home. The other wives sinking under neglect and bitterness. Kids getting caught in the middle of crossfire they never wanted. It wasn't a family anymore. It was a war zone. And the outcome, it appeared, was sooner rather than later. The courtroom was full. Fans, reporters, and critics had all heard the gossip. IRS rumors, money laundering, favoritism, and manipulation. The Brown family's behind-the-scenes battle had finally boiled over into public view. And now, in the cold glare of a Nevada courtroom, the truth would be determined. The judge takes charge. The air was thick when the judge appeared. Papers rustled. Robyn held Kody's hand. Christine sat rigid, eyes burning with resolve. Janelle had her notebook, her charts. Meri's eyes seemed empty, as if all the years of suffering were on the verge of being exposed. Aurora sat motionless, her hands quivering in her lap. The judge spoke with crispness, firmness, and ruthlessness. This court has listened to the evidence, the money, and the witness statements. What I am seeing is a cycle of abandonment, manipulation, and abuse of family money. This is no longer private. This is legal. Gasps swept through the room. The wives' worst nightmares were now true. Robyn's pregnancy weapon exposed. The judge went on. It is obvious to this court that Robyn Brown's pregnancies have been used as excuses for financial favoritism and unequal distribution of family resources. This manipulation has resulted in other children being neglected and other wives being unsupported. Such behavior cannot be without consequences. The words strike like a thunderclap. Robyn's face blanched. Kody's jaw flexed, but he remained quiet. For once, the king of excuses had no alibi. The numbers fall like bombs. The verdict arrived. Kody Brown directed to pay $2.5 million restitution. Robyn Brown's assets frozen for up to $900,000. Coyote Pass confiscated and put under legal hold until debt settled. IRS audit ordered for the whole Brown family's financial records. The courtroom exploded. Gasps. Cells. Cries. Reporters frantically wrote. Christine finally smiled after all those years. Janelle slumped back, justified. Meri buried her face, feeling relief and shame at the same time. And Robyn? Robyn cracked. Tears rolled down her face, yet there was no compassion to be found in the room. Her pregnancy shield had finally broken, and with it, control. The family crumbles. Kody attempted to protest, shouting back, "This isn't manipulation. This is family. This is love." But the judge cut him off in an instant with a loud gavel smash. "This is fraud. This is abuse of trust. And this family will pay the price." The words rang out like a sentence of death. Aurora wailed in desperation, pleading the judge to change his mind. But the decree held. For the first time in years, the Brown family was not masters of their tale. They weren't even masters of their finances. A judge controlled their future, and that future was disintegrating. The twist ending when the gavel fell for the final time. Christine addressed the cameras, her tone calm. "You see? We weren't mad. This wasn't simply love turned bad. This was control. This was manipulation. And now it's over at last." The room was silent. The verdict was in. The sister wives had finally had enough. And fans everywhere were left with one chilling question. Was this the end of Kody Brown's reign? Or the start of something even darker? The courtroom had fallen silent, but the reverberations of the judge's decision still rumbled in everyone's heads. Millions of dollars on ice. Properties confiscated. Trust destroyed. And at the heart of it all, Robyn and Kody, robbed of the power they had clung to so desperately. The wives departed. From that courthouse not as family, but as strangers bound together by agreements, kids, and a failing legacy. Christine smiled weakly, as if decades of pent-up anger had at last been justified. Janelle walked with her documents in her arm, her mind already working out next steps. Meri had her face averted, brokenly silent, but possibly at last liberated. And Robyn? For the first time, there were no tears to manipulate, no pregnancy to protect her, no gentle words to tell the tale her way. The decision was inscribed in stone. The game was up. Or was it? Because here's the true twist. Even with millions in debt, with the family destroyed, and with the world waiting in anticipation, rumors started circulating again. Rumors that Robyn wasn't finished. Rumors that she could utilize another pregnancy, one more child, as her final ultimate attempt to hold on to Kody. And that's the lingering question viewers are left with. Will Robyn risk everything once more? Will she employ pregnancy yet again as the ultimate tool of domination? Or has the judge's decision ruined her reign forever? Now here's where I need you. Do you think Robyn employed pregnancy as a tool to manipulate Kody and the other wives, or was she merely attempting to keep her head above water in a sinking family? Leave your ideas in the comments below, because I want to know what you think. And don't go anywhere, because in my next video, we're exploring the IRS scandal that could make Kody Brown lose more than $5 million. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. So be sure to hit that subscribe button, tap the bell so you never miss an update, and smash that like button if you believe the truth about the Brown family is finally being revealed. This saga isn't over. In fact, it's only just beginning.